Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome home. It's Friday here at USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and I'm super excited to welcome you to the Power of Etiquette and Manners, one of our top performing programs here on this network. Our topic today is etiquette and manners in various social settings. And in case you missed it, the British School of Excellence hosted a phenomenal program just this week, where founder and host of the show, Mr. Philip Sykes, interviewed Dr. Ivan Meisner, founder and chief visionary officer of BNI. We're going to be taking a look at some of the clips, the big takeaways from that program. And we're also going to talk about, obviously, other etiquette and manners that are appropriate in various scenarios. So let's welcome the star of our show, Mr. Philip Sykes. Hello.
A very good day to you. Namaste and assalamu alaikum to everybody out there for joining us on this wonderful show. It is Friday, as we always say, and the week has just blasted past. Dr. Jacalyn, as you said, we had the most wonderful session with Live, Learn, Teach, Inspire just this last Wednesday. If anyone missed it, you can go to USA Global TV and have a look at it. You can go to the British School of Excellence YouTube channel and you will be able to see the whole show. It was really outstanding.
Absolutely. I had so many notes I was taking, so many key takeaways, and to have somebody at his level, he talked about networking up. And that is something that can be very nerve-wracking for people as well. And many times we'll make stupid mistakes. I hate to label it with the word, but it's all about us. And we're so nervous sometimes. So what has been your experience about networking up, and what exactly does that mean?
Dr. Jacalyn, fantastic question. And it can be a bit nerve-wracking, especially when you don't have those quintessential tools on how to connect and how to engage. And actually, that brings me to something which is really, I'd love to share with everyone. And it really is something that was sent to us by a gentleman who shared his feedback off the back of the Polished Professional. And he said, after enrolling on the Polished Professional and applying the techniques taught on the course, I have seen enormous improvements, both personally and professionally. My income has increased substantially, along with my job satisfaction and performance. The principles taught me in this course that have the power to enrich not only your life, but also the lives of those around you. And as he calls himself, I'm a tattooed, bearded, heavy metal fan. And the principles of good manners and etiquette taught by the British School of Excellence have improved my life immeasurably. These courses really are for everyone. I cannot recommend this company and its mentors enough. Using the principles taught by the British School of Excellence, I've eradicated stress from my life, increased my personal income substantially, and improved my performance and the performance of my department across all measurable fields. The Polished Professional is an absolute must-have. The Polished Professional is the most valuable course I've ever taken. Now, he goes on to say, and I don't want to bore anyone with this, but he goes on to say that he really empowered himself to connect with senior colleagues. He was nervous before that. Networking events, he would stand on his own, and he was very, very insecure in himself. And Now he's a completely different person. So long-winded answer to your wonderful question, Dr. Jacalyn, but leveling up, networking up is all about putting your best foot forward, having the polished skills, knowing how to connect with people, always having a what can I do for you attitude. Don't go into these networking events where there might be some high rollers, high flyers, people who would absolutely and could help you right across the board, but don't go in there with the attitude or the idea of asking for anything at all. You've got to bring your what can I do for you attitude into the room. You've got to really show up. And as Dr. Ivan Meisner said, he said one of the most important things, it's all about the value you bring, not what the value that you want to take away from it, because this is something that's nurtured over time.
Thank you, Philip. That was an excellent answer, very robust and full of nuggets. A question I have, because this comes up quite often on this platform, there are many people who attend various events with influencers, and we all know their names: Tony Robbins, Richard Branson, for example, Grant Cardone. So when you're attending an event like that, is that a different type of scenario where you actually have paid to be there, that you can then go up and ask for something? What are your thoughts on that?
I would say that's a very good that's a good way of looking at it. Firstly, getting a picture with any of the decent, reputable people out there is always going to add to your brand, because there's what we deem as branding by association. This is something that I would advocate for everybody. If you can get a picture with people that are well liked, respected, and bring value to other people's lives, and you can get a nice picture with them, use it to your advantage. Definitely make sure you've done your research. For example, you wouldn't want to be associated, and we could name a good handful of people out there that are in the public eye. So when you're paying this sort of money, I would 100% angle yourself in a way that you can get their guidance and steering, and ask whatever that question might be. I think, would you loan me £1 million or $1 million? You might get a no, but you can position it. You can position yourself very, very well.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate it. I have an example that's really not the same thing, but at the same time, I hope will add some value. So, when I was going for my doctorate, we had to do a 3-week residency, and there was a facilitator there. And I really thought he would be somebody that would be great to be on my team so that I could graduate. And he didn't he didn't seem to think that I would have what it would take to have him on the team. He thought I'd be a crybaby, basically. And so anyway, instead of asking for something directly, I worked my hardest to show him the value that I could bring, as opposed to putting it on him. I don't know if that makes sense. And then at the end, I asked him directly if he would be on my team, and he said yes, that he had watched what I had done. So if you're attending a big event like this, maybe you do your best to participate, maybe you do your best to network and bring value to other people, and somehow that gets recognized in a completely different way.
Undoubtedly. That is going back to what can I do for you attitude, and always volunteer to be a part of something. Always ask relevant questions, ask any question for that matter, because no question is a stupid question. The only stupid one is the one that we never ask. And I can well assure you there'll be other people in that audience relieved the fact that you asked what might seem a stupid question. And they're going, thank goodness that someone answered that question. It's about getting recognized for the right reasons rather than the wrong reasons. And there's nothing worse than going to these events and you have a naysayer or you have a negative person. Get rid of those people. Move yourself a mile away from them.
Yes, definitely. And I want to talk about something else that I've seen happen numerous times. Dare I say that maybe I did this as well earlier in my career, but having a hidden agenda that you want to bring value to someone in an effort for them to do something for you. And what I've learned in the last decade, I guess, or so, is that you do something for someone without asking for anything in return. But many times people do something and think, okay, if I donate to your cause, if I do you a favor, then I get the right to ask you. And what I've learned is that that's not true. You just keep paying it forward and eventually it will come back to you, maybe through that person or through someone else. But people get frustrated and they don't want to wait. What would you say to them?
I would say never ever discount the idea that when we invest, in other words, when we do something for someone or we make a difference in this world, always give and never remember, always receive and never forget. Now, what I mean by that, if someone's continue taking advantage of you and you keep giving, there's got to be a cutoff point. So I'm not going down that route of giving. I'll ask him or I'll ask her, they always say yes. I'm not saying that. I'm always talking about always give, never ever remember, always receive, never forget. In other words, there's no tit for tat unless it's a written deal. Okay, that's completely separate business sense with contracts and things like that. But always have that giving attitude, because you may be investing for the future of your family. You don't know, it might not serve you in this world in your lifetime, but what you're doing is you're investing and you're playing the long game. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that the universe will give a tenfold return. I really and truly do.
I agree. I've seen it myself. So both of us are advocates of that, and we are people who have experienced that.
I say absolutely, and if you want to say hallelujah, I'll say hallelujah. It's remarkable. It's phenomenal, and when it does happen, you go, "Oh my hat, that was something I did for that," and you've even that's it. You've given and you've forgotten. Wonderful, and then you get served. Wow, it is phenomenal. But again, it needs to, as you say, Dr. Jacalyn, it needs to come with a very strong. What's the word? I'm doing this from deep down inside. It's one of the pillars that this organization I hold very, very strongly on the 6 pillars that we have. But one of the pillars is very much is having a what can I do for you attitude? How can I serve you? How can I help you? And when you do have that attitude without any hidden agenda, it'll come back to you in one way or another.
Yes, for sure. So I hope everyone takes that to heart and embraces that as part of their way of lifestyle, their way of living. I want to go back to this incredible episode that you hosted on Live, Learn, Teach, Inspire. Again, our audience can go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV and Radio. They can also go to your YouTube channel, the British School of Excellence, to watch this. So when you or your team were approaching Dr. Ivan Misner, was this a case of networking up, would you say, or did you feel that you were peers?
I think we're both passionate about what we do, and looking at the core values of BNI, the British School of Excellence and BNI and Dr. Ivan Misner, we have very, very strong core values. And so I would say, without being arrogant, that we were, as networking, hopefully maybe slightly up, but also very strongly standing by a gentleman who really does value what we as an organization bring, and we value what they as an organization bring. And there's a huge compliment. For people within BNI, they need every single skill set that we deliver here at the British School of Excellence to help them elevate themselves, because it is such a wonderful community. But if you can make one faux pas, you could trip yourself up. And it's not often we get a second opportunity. From networking up on behalf of students, absolutely. That was bringing an incredible gentleman to our audience, to an audience that may never have even heard of Dr. Ivan Misner, or never ever considered some of the wonderful golden nuggets that he shared with us on Wednesday when it comes to the art of connecting with people and the art of networking.
And it was quite an episode. We actually have pulled it up to take a look at some of the discussion that you had. And one of the topics was about understanding customs, body language when you're traveling abroad. And some of the things that we do here in the States are obviously, from what I saw, offensive to people in other countries. So can you just tee up this part of the show and then we'll take a look at it?
Certainly. Every single one of us has a duty to respect the country we're going to, not even the country we're going to, who's our audience, who are we connecting with. And it's up to us to either do programs, courses on it, to do our research. We are blessed now. You go onto Google and you can say, how do I say thank you in this language? What is not acceptable in that religion or that custom or that country. We need to do our homework. We need to be hugely, hugely respectful of that, because we've all got habits. We develop habits over time. And as Dr. Ivan Meisner was talking about, there's certain hand gestures which we feel very natural in doing. And you go to another country and it's, as some people might call it, the middle finger, or it's disappear in no uncertain terms, but with very harsh language or body language. And it is really crucial. And I'd love you to bring something into play here.
Thank you. So we're going to take a look at this clip. Hopefully I have it on the right segment. All right, let's take a look. Again, this is the episode from this past Wednesday.
Talking backstage, I know you are incredibly well traveled, and when it comes to connecting with people around the world, there is an element, or a very strong element, of how do we connect with people that are foreign to us. As you know, you come from the USA. I originally was born in Africa. I've been living in the UK since 1999 permanently. When you go to countries like Asia, I'd love some insight from you on connecting and networking in that part of the world.
Yeah, so whenever you go to another country, and I think this is really important, you need to talk to a local, someone you trust and you know, and find out the do's and the don'ts, you know, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. When I go to another country, I tell them my jokes, I tell them my stories that I'm going to use in my speech, because inevitably, I find that in some countries, a simple phrase or a hand gesture is offensive. I remember I was doing a presentation in my own training center at the time I was in Los Angeles, and you know, to make a point, I said, you have to make sure, and the Malaysian director in the room was like, when you come to Malaysia, don't do that. And I'm like, why? He said, that's like, you know, flipping somebody the middle finger in Malaysia. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I do that all the time. He's like, well, you better find something else. So I'm like, okay, well, can I do this? And he said, yeah, that's fine. So I literally, because I was going there in a few months, I literally practiced for like 3 months doing this instead of this, because I didn't want to offend a lot of people who were in the event. But so you learn from the local people before you go. For example, in many Asian countries, Japan in particular, but India, China, you hand out business cards different. In Japan, they call it the maishi ritual. And, you know, anybody that's been to Asia has seen it, or you hold a card by the tips and you present the card to somebody and bow, and they accept the card, and, you know, you comment on the card, and you hand them your card that way, very respectfully. And that's, you know, that's different than like in North America. In America, you know, oh yeah, here's my card. It's no big deal, but you don't want to do that. And don't write on your card. I know, you know, etiquette is important with this group, and so don't write on the card. Take a notepad if you're in Asia. Take a notepad. Don't even ask them, hey, is it okay if I write a note on your card? Because they'll say yes, and then they'll think you were just rude. You didn't know the culture. So get a local person, know the hand gestures to use and not use, and run your stories by local people before you do them on stage, which I have done once or twice at a country that I'd gone to many times, and I thought I knew all of this stuff, and I didn't. And I should have run the story by somebody.
Wow. What are your thoughts when you look back on it?
Hugely powerful, hugely important. And actually it brings to mind a lovely story. A very dear school friend of mine went to Hong Kong many years ago. He was delivering and presenting to a cohort of people in Hong Kong. And he stood up, was introduced, and he stood up in front of this big audience, and he says, I think he most probably picked up the word ni hao, da cha hao. And he said, it is so wonderful to have so many wonderful Chinese people in the room. And he was in Hong Kong, which again, yes, Hong Kong is now very much part of China, but the Hong Kongese do not refer to themselves as Chinese. They are Hong Kongese. And as he said that, he just knew he had just literally put his foot in it. And he could pick up the negativity in the audience. So just exactly what Dr. Ivan Meisner was sharing here with us. Do your research, bounce your stories off people, because what might be funny in this country might just be an absolute no-no. You might pick the wrong sort of character, and never assume that people might know X or Y either.
Philip, when that happens and we make a boo-boo, we step in it, as you said, what's the proper etiquette and manners at that point? You realize you made a mistake. Do you then say, okay, while you're there on the stage speaking, I made a big mistake. I want to apologize to you right now. Or do you just keep going on hoping no one paid attention?
Look, it takes courage to apologize on the spot, but I would honestly, especially when you know that you've made a very large faux pas, and no one obviously does it on purpose. It's a slip of the tongue. It's going back to Ivan Meisner was talking about, if you've done this all your life, it's going to be damn hard to get out of that moment and that action. So, going to this is thing. It's something you've just got to practice and make sure that you are so present on everything you do, not have your mind racing in a million directions. Be present. Where am I? Which country am I in? What is my presentation entailing? And if you do happen to slip up, just apologize and move on. Don't keep apologizing. Once the apology's gone out, leave it at that.
That's such a good point that you brought up, because that's also an area where people get stuck, is they start to make an apology and then it really becomes passive aggressive, where it turns out it's your fault. Actually, I wouldn't have done that if you didn't push me the way that you did, or I wouldn't have said that, but you told me that, and now I'm passing it back to you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think just swallow your pride, say your apology, and let's move forward. Let's focus on why we are here. Let's focus on the positive side of things. Let's focus what is in it for me, what's in it for them. What are we going to do here? What have we come here to focus on and achieve?
I'd like to do just a little role play for our audience, because I always think that's helpful. So I'm going to give I'm going to give 3 different apologies, and I'd like you to just listen to what they are, and then maybe you can critique them to help our audience understand better. Philip, I want to apologize. I wasn't on time today because my car broke down, and then I didn't have enough money to get it repaired, and I wasn't sure, and so now I'm late. That's the first one. The second one, Philip, I want to apologize that I am late. Philip, please carry on. There are 3 scenarios. What do you think?
First one, too much information. You're late. Firstly, if you are meeting one-on-one, then make that I'm so sorry. I had car difficulty. Please accept my apology and move on. The second one, a great one. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry I'm late. No excuse. I'm sorry I'm late. They don't need to know the detail. That would be very acceptable. The third one, please carry on. That would be, in my opinion, unacceptable, especially when you are late into a room full of people. How often have you been in a situation, Dr. Jacalyn, or any of our listeners out there, where a colleague has walked into a board meeting or a meeting and they said, sorry, I'm late. Well, we can see you late. You don't need to disrupt the whole room. Just sneak in, sit down, and at the end of that meeting, you can go to the chairman or whoever is conducting that meeting and say, I am so sorry I was late earlier. And if you needed to give a valid excuse because you felt it was going to warrant why you were late, then do so, but don't harp on about it.
I love that. That's the one that I really think is the most acceptable, because we already see that you're late. We know that you're shuffling in, you're getting your stuff organized, you're pulling the chair out. By saying something, you're now disrupting the meeting or the presentation even more. So I love that.
Yeah, just be considerate about others. It's not about you. Yes, you're late, you feel embarrassed, and that's why we sort of scrabble away to try and help us dig ourselves out of this hole we've created. You're in the hole already, so stay in that hole discreetly as you walk in.
And by the way, even though we might have every intention of being on time, and I'm just giving this as an example, we may leave enough time. Maybe we leave instead of an hour early, we leave an hour and a half early. We're completely ready, but things happen that are out of our control. And then by the time we get to where we're going, we're a complete nervous wreck because we know that we're late. I've seen this happen so many times. Somebody comes into a room and they don't say anything, but they say something to the person next to them. Hey, I'm really sorry I'm late. What did I miss? Can you catch me up? Can you bring me up to speed? No.
And again, take 5 minutes. You're late. So take 5 minutes, go to the loo, do a power pose, wash your face with some cold water. Just get into the zone. You are late. So you've already done that to yourself. You're annoyed. And a lot of these reasons, as you said, you left even half an hour earlier than you normally would, but you're still late. Things happen along the way. Don't beat yourself up about it. You want to try to the best of your ability to go in there with the right sort of mindset. And you do not need to ask someone, what have I missed? You leave it. And at the end, would you give me, may I see your notes you took at the beginning of the meeting, or would you share, or would you bring me up to speed? And you do that all at the end.
Excellent. Thank you, Philip. So let's talk a little bit more about networking and social settings, as this was discussed on the show, as we mentioned, that was just on Wednesday. So when you're at a networking event, I've seen this where a person has a stack of business cards and they're looking around the room and they're not even listening to you because you are not really the person they want to speak with. They want to speak with someone else, but that person is with someone. So they're speaking with you, and you know they're not really interested in what you have to say. And then they kind of just shove a business card at you and go, yeah, why don't we get together? And then they walk off to talk to the other person. I think Dr. Ivan shared something that was so important, and I'd love to try to find that part of the clip about being at a networking event and this person wasn't able to, I don't know if it was him or not, but to be able to sit next to the person that wanted to and ended up sitting next to a much younger person. Can you recount that story?
A wonderful story. It was absolutely wonderful. So Dr. Ivan Meisner shared that he was invited to a dinner and he happened to be sat opposite this beautiful young lady who was the daughter of the person he really wanted to meet and sit and chat to. And I think this is a massive lesson for all of us. What can I glean, or how can I serve this person? What can I glean from this person? So he really interacted with her and showed immense interest in this young lady and asked her some really wonderful questions. He got to know her, and it was already, he also thoroughly enjoyed the time he had with that particular individual. And as they were getting up to leave the room to go into the next room, this gentleman came over to Dr. Ivan Meisner and said, I just want to thank you so much for really engaging with my daughter. It was just so delightful to see my daughter come to life, open up. She showed her confidence. It was really a very, very wonderful moment for me to observe and see. And boom, what happened? Ivan managed to connect with this gentleman from something that in the beginning you would never have thought would even happen. And so always have that mindset. Don't ever go into a situation with, oh, I didn't get the person, sit next to the person. Just be very clear on why you're there. Show that you care, no matter who you're dealing with. And please, everyone out there, you'll be amazed. We are being observed all the time. You never know who's watching, who's looking, or anything along those lines. You know, something that, for example, we've been doing a bit of recording over the last couple of months about, creating some e-learning material. And one of them is a very, 10 points to mastering your interview techniques and skills. And one of the things that I want people to be very aware of is, why are we always only nice to the person interviewing us? And I'm not saying this is, I'm generalizing. Often we walk into a business and we greet the person behind the reception desk. Hello, I'm here to see so-and-so. There's no nicety, there's no kindness, you're just very direct, you're very forthright. And you don't even know who that person is. It could actually be the decision maker in that organization, and they just happen to be just wanting to see how you act and behave. So in other words, whenever you walk into any building, any situation, be on your best behavior, despite the fact you might have got out of bed on the wrong side. Sort yourself out, get your mindset right, be present, and be very open to making a difference.
Excellent points as always. Thank you, Philip. And I want to go back to what you said just a couple of minutes ago, which was you never know who's watching or who's looking or who's observing. I got a phone call recently from someone who was concerned about how I was doing with my mom's passing. This person knew a lot about me, and it was kind of freaking me out a little bit because I thought, I wonder where this person got this information. Well, this person's been watching the shows. And that was something that really surprised me. I had no idea this person was watching. You never know who's watching, but by watching, this person has learned a lot about me and was reassuring me that I have a lot of things to be excited about because of this, this, and this. So the point is, you never do know who you're influencing or who is watching. Now, Philip, what if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed? You are really in a horrible mood. Is it okay or acceptable? Is it maybe mandatory that you keep yourself isolated in some way or reserved in some way until you feel that you are able to pull yourself up, so to speak, and you're literally wallowing in negative energy? What do you do so that you don't offend someone?
Oh, that's a big question, Dr. Jacalyn. I mean, personally, I try and create good habits for myself, and I mean, I know you keep exceptionally fit. It's something that and do I always jump out of bed wanting to go for a run or go and have a workout? Not really. Other days I do, and it's those tough days that you do wake up. Maybe you've had a bad night's sleep, or you haven't had enough sleep, or whatever it could be. And personally, I try and find tools that are going to elevate me and pick me up. That's the first thing I try and do. And hopefully that does work. And 9 times out of 10, it does work. Look, when you have someone die in your family or you're going through a horrible time in your relationship, or one of your children are ill, there are times that it's going to be very, very tricky and difficult to get yourself out of that feeling of whatever that feeling is. And we all experience sadness and upset and misery in slightly different ways. So again, going for a run, putting your mindset into the moment. In other words, envisaging how you want your day to turn out. The visualization can be very, very helpful. But I think going back to what you suggested as well is maybe just isolating yourself for a period of time while you try and figure things out, and draw up a list. Draw up a list of things that you're grateful for. Draw up a list of things that you are thankful for. Listen to a powerful piece of music if that revs your motor. I truly believe that we can absolutely lift ourselves out of these moments. And why I say that is I spent quite a lot of time in cognitive behavioral therapy many years ago, actually having gone through a separation and a divorce. And yeah, it was a very, what's the word I'm looking for? It was a very big awakening and wonderful to understand how important we are to ourselves, and also knowing that I know I'm not going to be in the slump forever. I know how to take myself out of this. And just by bolting on some of the tools that the CBT therapist gave me, really started to help me, that if I knew I was going into a bit of a lull, I could do a couple of different things to take me out of that lull.
Brilliant. I love that you shared that, because we all do experience different things at different times, and to work on ourselves and use the tools that are available really do make a difference. And that brings me to our next topic, which I think is really important, is when someone is going through something, and as I lost my family member, you lost your family member, many times we'll hear this. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. My mother just passed away. I know how you're feeling. Really? You do? No. They don't even listen to what you're saying. Now it's about them. Now we're going back to how they feel. Or this. Someone said this to me, actually. My mom was still alive. She was a really good person. And I'm thinking, she's still here. What does that mean, actually? So the point is that whether it's the loss of a loved one, maybe it's a broken relationship, or maybe you lost your job, we say things that are completely inappropriate because we don't know what to say. So what would you recommend when it comes to embracing etiquette and manners and saying something that is appropriate?
Whew, you're asking me some very interesting and challenging questions today, which I love. I love being put on the spot. Firstly, one of the most important things is just pause before you answer any difficult question. Use what we call and what we utilize in our organization a 6-second rule. Pause and take on board what has just been shared with you. And then hopefully you come out with something that is either valuable or you add value. In other words, if you shared with me, Dr. Jacalyn, you know, I've just lost my mum. Well, it's about you. It's not about me. My answer to that would be, Dr. Jacalyn, I'm here for you. If you need to talk about anything, if you need to shed a tear, if you want to cry on my shoulder, I'm here for you. I don't need to go down the route. I know how you feel. Or, oh, I know what it feels like, Dr. Jacalyn. I know. Isn't it just the worst thing? Well, we all know it's the worst thing. We all know that we're all feeling pretty crap. You know, that it's we often say things because we feel that we're handing out something of intent to be compassionate, whereas actually all you're doing is actually you're throwing fuel onto an already exposed flame. The flame is there. You don't need to add fuel to it. Just be sympathetic and empathetic and think of the choice of words. And if necessary, plan what you might say to someone if they share something that is upsetting with you. Again, it is so important. We need to think before we speak. We really do.
You know, Philip, that's an excellent perspective, because when someone has lost something, we are probably not there at that moment. So we do have time to prepare. We know we're going to make a phone call or reach out. We can actually plan on what it is we're going to say. And basically it comes down to listening at an elevated level. But here's another one. A person's in a marriage, they're in a relationship, and then they call to let you know that the relationship is over or they're getting divorced. And the person says, "You're so much better off. I never liked him to begin with. He was this, and this." Basically, you're saying that I'm an idiot, that I didn't see any of these things. And then maybe I get back with the person and you already said exactly what you think. I love that, Philip.
Yeah, I mean, don't even bring a spade to the party. Just bring a front-end loader bulldozer. I mean, really, again, it's such a fascinating topic, this area, because we can explode and expand this in so many different directions. It's, again, stop and think. Yeah, what is, with all due respect, your friend might have hated every part of your ex-husband. And this is hypothetical, by the way. Do they need to voice it? No, they don't. It's just sometimes we as human beings, it's that trigger in us. We love Skinner, we love scandal, negativity. We harp on all these stupid things and waste time on. There's no point. What is the benefit to anybody? There's no benefit at the end of the day. You might already know X, Y, and Z about your ex-husband. That's fine. But no one needs to reiterate it unless you've asked for that. So if you come to your friend and say, "Did you see what I saw? He was very violent. He was X, Y, and Z." And your friend says, "Yeah, unfortunately I did, Dr. Jacalyn, but it wasn't my place to step in. You know, with all due respect, even though I care and love you, it's unfortunately it's your relationship, and I'm not going to push the envelope and try and interfere because you have never asked me. If you want my interference, then come and ask me to interfere. But I have not been asked." So again, I think we as human beings need to just pause and stop and get rid of frivolous conversation. We don't need to talk for the sake of talking.
Brilliant. Thank you. And just to reiterate, that was hypothetical. We were not talking about me personally or anyone that we know. We're just saying in general. Yes. Now, I think this is also important when we talk about etiquette and manners in social situations. This is another big one. You and I are having a conversation. We're in person, and a third person walks up and they want to speak to you or me, or I don't know, they want to meet both of us. And we pretend they're not there. Have you ever seen this happen? There's somebody standing there. Now, to the person standing there, what is the etiquette and manners about approaching two people in a conversation, number one? And number two, what's the etiquette and manners of us having the conversation and acknowledging the third person?
Okay, first one, great question. We talk a lot about this in our networking etiquette and business excellence programs. Look, at the end of the day, if you and I are having a conversation and Michael happens to walk up and knows one of us or knows both of us, or doesn't know either of us. He feels like a spare wheel in this networking room. We happen to be the closest people to him. He comes over with a cup of tea in his hand. Then Michael, in my professional opinion, would be, good morning. Hello, my name is Michael, and may I please join you? And that then we would then appropriately, if it were appropriate to shake hands accordingly, and we would introduce ourselves. We wouldn't just say hello. The amount of times we meet people and they don't give their name is extraordinary. It is absolutely extraordinary. It's not about you, it's about the other person. So you want to put the other person at ease in a very short space of time. And people don't say their name. So in that sort of situation, Michael would then come forward and say, I didn't quite get your name. Maybe you didn't say your name, but that's a nice way to say it. Sorry, would you please share your name with me? Oh, yes, sorry, I do apologize, it's Philip. So that for me is something that takes confidence. And this is the art of good networking. You know, what's the worst that could happen? Do you think we're both going to bark or bite this young man or young person coming to engage in our conversation? Absolutely not. We would be polite and courteous and say, please do join us. On the other side of the coin, if you and I are talking and one of us with our peripheral vision catches someone standing either to our right or left, then turn to them and say, hello, my name's Philip, how are you? Please come on over. Michael, I've just been chatting to my wonderful friend, Dr. Jacalyn. We've been talking about X, Y, and Z. So A, you bring that person into the conversation, and B, I'm making the introduction, and C, I'm informing Michael what we've just been talking about so that he feels very much a part of what we've been talking about and instantly welcome.
I really applaud that. I think that's excellent. Something else that I've done in the past is I would say, Michael, yes, please meet my friend Philip. By the way, Michael was a former teacher of etiquette and manners at XYZ. And Philip, yes, bringing them together. So now, but there are people out there right now, Philip, who are saying to themselves, well, if you two are having a conversation about something, why would you invite someone to interrupt you? Because now your conversation is derailed. So you and I are going to have to pick it up at a later point in time.
Absolutely. And it's, again, so important. Be thoughtful, be kind, be caring, and be very aware. It's what we call situational awareness. Be situationally aware. Don't have this inner sort of it's almost become an instinct in so many ways of it's me. And all I want to do is be in this, my little bubble. Don't want any interaction. People walking around with headphones on, earphones in their ears. Well, they're not putting earphones on their shoulders, are they? But they are earphones. And I find that, I know I'm detracting, but it's something where we've really disconnected ourselves from opportunities.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And as we come to the end of the show, I know we shared a lot of really valuable information that we learned from Live, Learn, Teach, Inspire, and also from all of your years of doing what you're doing. I'd like to share your website right now so that people can understand all of the offerings that you have for them. Tell us a little bit about the services, the courses that you offer.
Will do. Thank you for the opportunity. Firstly, ladies and gentlemen, our organization, the bedrock is etiquette, manners, and emotional intelligence. Do we go into boring do's and don'ts? No, we don't. We focus heavily on mindset, inspiration. We focus on motivation, but we do incorporate the importance and the power of etiquette, manners, and emotional intelligence. And our programs run from Train the Trainer, which the next one starts in mid-October, very intense 5-day program, and it is outstanding. It will literally change your life, depending on what direction you want to go in. But whether you use it for your own personal use, as in, I'm going to set up a business, or you're going to incorporate it into your life, it'll serve you in whatever you do, that's for sure. The Polished Professional is one of our standout programs when it comes to business etiquette and business excellence. I shared with you earlier on the show today just a brief snippet from this young man who came on the Polished Professional a year ago, and then subsequently has done dining etiquette with us in person. And he's actually got a much longer detailed overview. And actually, I have to share with you in that overview, it has been a little over a year since I enrolled on the Polished Professional, and since that time, my financial return on investment is over 16,500%. Let me say that again. My investment is over 16,500%. If this course was a stock, then it would be on the front page of every newspaper. So he goes on to say, more than just the money, I feel almost like a new person, like I have evolved into a better version of myself. I am more confident, more self-assured, and more outgoing. I am no longer afraid of meeting with customers. I am no longer afraid of hosting business meetings or parties, and I have not felt an ounce of stress in the last 12 months. I cannot recommend the British School of Excellence enough. Their teachings have improved my life and the lives of the people around me in ways that cannot be measured. And that actually, I get goosebumps from head to toe. I get very teary when I read something along those lines. So the Polished Professional is a program that will literally, it's 3 2-hour sessions. It's not all in one go. It's split over individual days, normally toward the end of the British, either summer or when we go back to GMT, the heaven forbid, but the clocks are going to change in October. We run children's programs. We run programs for teenagers. So teenagers, mindset and confidence, mindset and resilience, mindset and money. We're launching an incredible program for everybody called Mindset and Mapping. How can we map our lives? In other words, what rivers do we need to cross? What swamps are we going to have to deal with? Who are we putting around our fire? All of those sort of things with mindset and mapping. That's going to be an amazing course launching very, very soon. And on that note, we have our guest on the next Live, Learn, Teach, Inspire, which is going to be at the beginning of October, who's going to be introducing this beautiful mindset and mapping program. And it has taken off around the world in various areas. You'll see dining etiquette, afternoon tea. What are those about? Yes, it's fun together. It's dining and afternoon tea, but there is so much we deliver in those interactive in-person programs, and the value add is absolutely huge. Just recently, I've worked with a woman who's CEO of a big Romanian bank. She flew from Romania to here to attend an alumni get together with her Yale graduates, and the first thing she did was book a dining etiquette program. It's something she's always wanted to do, and she was polished as it is, but she just said this program has elevated her into a completely different area of confidence, and she handled herself so beautifully and so well. I can keep going on about the programs we offer. We are fastidious about EQ, because I truly believe, and we did a show, Dr. Jacalyn, you and I did a show a few months back, or a month or so back, about the correlation of etiquette, manners, and emotional intelligence. They are so intertwined, and if anyone wants to put their best foot forward, whatever age you are, just make contact with us at www.thebritishschoolofexcellence.com or hello@thebritishschoolofexcellence.com.
Thank you so much, Philip. And you also have your WhatsApp number here. Would you like to share that?
Certainly, +44 780 885 9914. UK number. I don't answer or get involved after hours for obvious reasons. It's very important we all understand the importance of knowing when to get rid of your digital devices and spend time either with you, family, friends, or getting rest. It's really important. So I would urge anyone who would like to connect with us on any level to please do so.
Thank you so much. Another fabulous show, a lot of good gems for people to take away. So I thank you for your time, and I'm super excited to do the next Live, Learn, Teach, Inspire, and also for us to meet again next Friday.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. Have a fantastic weekend, and no doubt we'll be maybe talking over the weekend, if not at least some stage during the course of next week.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. Thank you. Bye, Philip.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Please do reach out to Philip. That's why he's here. I encourage you. I know sometimes it seems scary, so to speak, to reach out to someone you don't know, but that's what our platform is all about. It's about education, hope, and inspiration, of course, some entertainment. But our team is here to support you and your work. So please do bookmark the BritishSchoolOfExcellence.com. You can also reach out to Philip through LinkedIn. You can connect with him there. Our next next show is coming up, and it is Talking Heads. If you're not familiar with Talking Heads, these are our expert presenters. Each person has expertise in a certain area, and in some cases, multiple areas. So today's Talking Head expert is Dr. Madeline Chan. So please do follow along today with today's agenda, today's schedule. The next show will be The Listening Mentor with Caroline Heward, and then Coexistence and Sustainability with Pet Psychic Amina. We have over 41 shows to choose from. If you'd like to be a guest, please go over to usaglobaltv.com and you can book your session. Please note that all show times are in Eastern Daylight Time. So if you are in the UK, right now you would add 5 hours to that. If you're in Central European Time, you would add 6 hours to that. Let's take a look at a couple of sponsorships and then we'll be right back.
Hello everyone, I'm Simon MacDonald. I live in the West Highlands of Scotland, a very beautiful part of the world. Seems a long way from the USA Global TV station. But remember, USA Global TV is worldwide. It's a fantastic platform. And every Wednesday, I come along here as part of the show of the United Kingdom News and Culture. And it's just like a family reunion each time. It's one of these amazing stations that has such a beautiful, friendly, and intelligent atmosphere as well. And we reach out to an audience in the most unimaginable places. And I came here, I don't know, must be over a year ago now. I was introduced by Dr. Philip Chan, and I met Ian Plum-Turner and Helena Chard, who are co-presenters on the show. And then Diane Floyd-Bem came along as well. And I mean, the 5 of us, Dr. Jacalyn, of course, who is our host and our mentor, has just made this show work so well. Tremendous people, lovely time we have, and we impart a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. Nothing's rehearsed. It's all done off the cuff, and it all just gels. And we get great feedback from people coming back and saying how they're enjoying the show. It's lovely to hear, and it's lovely to get that interaction from outside as well. And we're all listeners, and some of us are elevated listeners as well. So we enjoy every second of it, and we hope you do too.
Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome. My name is Roland Friedl, and maybe as you can recognize from my accent, I'm Austrian, so it's a small country in the middle of Europe, in the heart of Europe. And yeah, I'm 59 years old. I'm a father and a grandfather. And from my business background, after my very short but very successful corporate career, I was the youngest member of board of directors in a huge business, in a huge company. I started my own businesses in different areas, in different industries, and I got a lot of experience, what is working, what is not working. And about 2.5 decades ago, I started a training, coaching, consulting company, Spartan Performance Systems, where I did and still do train and consult international huge businesses worldwide like Xerox and other big players in the world. So we do a lot of sales trainings and management trainings with my team in different languages. That's my main background in business. Besides that, I'm very engaged in men's work and also in the environment. That's my background, make it short. So to be honest, I'm very curious about what's going on in the world. I love to learn. I love to travel. So my huge passion is traveling. Right now, as you can see the background, I'm sitting in my motorhome. So after 14 years living on a beautiful island, I decided to move into my motorhome and travel to Europe and live and work from my motorhome. So, and I got engaged to USA Global TV and Radio actually a year and around 9-10 months ago. A very good friend of mine, he contacted me and asked me if he can invite me for an interview on USA Global TV and Radio. I guess the show was called The Journey of My Life. And to be honest, in the beginning, I said no, because I had very bad experience on interviews in my business careers. I did it twice for a TV channel in Austria. and then they cut it and edited it, and at the end, my comment was totally different than to the reality I said. So I said in the beginning, no, but I trusted this guy, so they said, okay, let's do it. He told me I don't have to fly to the US, I can do it from my home. That was, at the time, this was this island in Mallorca. So, and it was an amazing, and a beautiful conversation. And then Dr. Jacalyn contacted me and asked me if I'm interested in becoming a co-moderator of a show. And so we started the Mallorca Connection, which is a weekly show on Monday, the Mallorca Connection. I got more and more involved. I became an elevated listener because I strongly believe it's important to listen first before you talk. And I had the chance to host and moderate and design my own shows, like the Earth Show in the past, the Men shows. I became a talking head, an expert on business topics. So I hosted, moderated, I guess about more than 100, maybe 200, I have no idea, shows on USA Global TV and Radio, and I still do. And finally, we started the It's Your Healthy Lifestyle, a very good show, and we bring a new one on about the planet Earth. Yeah, that's a little bit what I'm doing here on USA Global TV and Radio. So why I'm doing this? First of all, I really love new medias. I love the platform. I love the work that this Dr. Jacalyn is doing to educate people. It's all about sharing, caring, and connecting and networking. And the benefit I got out of this in my personal experience, I learned a lot about myself, to be honest. I learned a lot about my strengths in moderating, in hosting, in talking live in front of a video camera. I learned a lot of myself, where my strengths, where my weak points that I have to improve. I met a lot of new interesting people. Some of them became friends of mine. Actually, after all, it's a hell of work, to be sure. Yes, it is, to be prepared, to invite people for the shows, to find new topics, to do research on the facts. But I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the industry, the media industry. I learned a lot about broadcasting, videos, interviewing. And as I said, I met interesting people, a lot of interesting people, and also made new friends where I'm very happy for that. So yeah, USA Global TV and Radio, it's the platform to connect. It's about sharing and caring. And for me, USA Global TV and Radio is a huge family, and I'm very thankful and grateful for this experience. And for I guess the best is yet to come. Thanks a lot from Roland from Austria. Thank you. Bye.
This program is brought to you in part by the British School of Excellence and founder, Mr. Philip Sykes, building confidence, changing lives. Do you share our view that etiquette is a set of modern life skills that are essential for personal and professional success? Join us as an etiquette coach and change people's lives through the power of etiquette and manners.
The last few days have been really amazing. I had a trainer course from the British School of Etiquette.
And I must say it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made and one of the best investments I've made in my own training and development.
Now, words alone will not describe the transformation and the positive path that I have traveled with the British School of Etiquette.
I find I learned a lot from the lessons this time I came.
The last few days with the British School of Etiquette have been fantastic.
And what I've learned now is really beyond my expectations.
This is the most rewarding experience and the best investment I have made this year.
It was just great. I learned so much, and when I go back to Belgium, I will incorporate a lot of it into my day-to-day life and business.
It's been absolutely wonderful for the whole week that we were here.
I feel transformed, and I feel like blowing a trumpet and tell people, come and do this school, this class is the best. This is the best school ever.
You should take it. It will change your life immediately.
I am now able to teach other people how to bring the best of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, BSC.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to our clients for their testimonials on the Train the Trainer program. Our exponential and global growth is so significant that we've evolved from the British School of Etiquette to the British School of Excellence, where we're investors in people. Let us invest in you and your career. Contact us to become an etiquette coach. Go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. Start your career and elevate your success today.